you know, I thought I had this show figured out this season. I was like, yep, the killers are Kieran and Zoe. I'm 99% sure. So I know Brandon James has some kind of connection, or maybe it's Troy James, but I think I figured it out. But I was so happy with this week's episode because they pretty much told me that I don't have it all figured out, which is good because a show isn't amazing if you can figure it out every time. So I don't know exactly what this Zoe death thing means. Like, I don't know if that means that she could still kind of be the killer, you know, she could have been killing people but screwed up. I'll tell you what I think about that in just a minute. But all right, so we learned that Piper was kept on ice, and they said she was removed from her grave, but like, she was never buried, right? Wasn't she just in the ocean? Not the ocean, but the lake the entire time? I don't know, I thought that was weird. Oh my god, so the killer cut open Piper and put a pig's heart inside. So here we are again with all of this pig imagery. There's just been pigs throughout the entire season. We know that Troy James lived on a pig farm, so there's that. I don't know what's the deal, but like I said before in previous videos, like, our killers aren't just killing because they're obsessed with death. There's a big connection to Brandon and Troy. There's a connection to everything that happened in 1994. And like I was telling you last week, the stuff that happened in 94 is really important, and you see that a lot in this episode, how they're trying to connect the past to the present. So what do you think about all the pig imagery, and what does that mean? It's obviously incredibly important this season, and here we go again. That was pretty disgusting though. All right, so the sheriff thinks that Brandon is the killer. And I don't think so. I think he's never killed anyone. I think he was framed in 94, and I think he's completely innocent. Now, we could have a lot of different things going on. We could have Troy, his brother, orchestrating the killings or doing some of the killings, or someone who is a relative of theirs who we know, but we don't know they're a relative. So I'm just curious to see what you're thinking right now. Now, as far as my theory goes, the Zoe theory is kind of messed up for me, but Kieran is still my #1 suspect. That hasn't changed, just to let you know. I was in love with this episode for so many reasons, but my #1 reason is that it felt so much like a movie. Like, it didn't feel as much like an episode, and it was just, it really gave me vibes from some of the Scream movies, and I love the flashbacks of the sheriff and Maggie, and I love seeing them as teens. And we also saw Brandon here, and we saw that he had like a knife in his hand, and they buried the knife for him. We saw little tidbits of things that we didn't get to fully understand everything, but I think we'll continue seeing more of those little flashbacks as this season nears its end. So someone is texting Noah. It appears to be Zoe, but I'm thinking there's no way it's her. And she wants him to come meet her out by the water, into the woods, whatever. And of course, we all know this is a massive trap. And the killer is there, and he actually gets stabbed. Now, I knew this was coming. I figured either it was a dream sequence or he actually got stabbed, but I didn't think he was going to die. So, but at this point, I was like, we might get the Zoe reveal. I thought we might actually get that reveal in this episode if she's the killer like I thought. So, I was kind of surprised here, though. I mean, the killer puts him in a casket and buries him alive, and I get that because that's a lot worse of a death than being killed on impact. But at the same time, the killer totally could have killed him right there. So, you know, because I still have Noah in the back of my mind. Like, he's not a suspect for me, but I still hold on to my thoughts that I've had with him before. I still think he could be, like, Troy's kid or related to Brandon in some way. And he's had he has his own pig. And I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff about him. So I'm just like, why wasn't he killed? Because he totally could have been killed, you know? So I don't know. I would love to see what you guys think about Noah. So as we see, which is not surprising, Noah's being recorded in the casket. The killer's pretty much recorded all of the killings. So I do think they're putting together some kind of movie or documentary of their own or whatever, because they're just kind of messed up like that. So this episode really focused on Audrey and Emma being partnered together. And the killer is sending videos of them to Noah, so they have to go find him before he dies. And basically, we see them going out to this farm that I guess they had been to as kids, Audrey and Emma, and that is where they want to direct them to, but this is actually the place where Jake was murdered. Okay, so inside of Brandon's house, there are tons of photos of Emma. I know she found those before and then they like disappear, but the sheriff is finding these, and he definitely thinks it's Brandon, but I think Brandon's still alive, and I think he's around, but I don't think he's the one doing the killings. And I don't know, I mean, like, sometimes I think he could be Emma's actual dad, but let me know what you think about that. Wow, so before, I guess, they get to the farm, Emma and Audrey are, like, searching Noah's room because they're looking for clues as to find out, like, where could he be. And the killer has placed Audrey's letters to Piper there in the room, so she sees those and she's like devastated to read the stuff that Audrey said about her to Piper. So the killer's riddle was what's behind Noah's obsession, which was to be taken literally because they were talking about the murder board, and behind it was a daffodil, and that's what led them to this place where Jake's body was. So Kieran has been texting Emma the whole time they're driving out there, checking up on her, whatever, because we know he is the killer, you know, hello. I just don't see any way around how he couldn't be. And so daffodils grew around the barn, like where Emma and Audrey hung out as kids. All right, so, and apparently this is also where Piper and Audrey had some meetings at that barn, which is interesting. So the killer calls the sheriff, which is a first, and I'm thinking, well, the sheriff's probably going to walk into a trap and get murdered, but they told him to go to the horse stables. So the pig, when the girls both touched that scythe or whatever, I think that's how you say that. That was the same weapon used to kill Jake, and they both touch it, so now their fingerprints are on it, which are terrible because they're trying to get into the barn, and they see this like mutilated pig. It's so disgusting, and the funny thing was, or the weird thing was, whatever, is that Emma had seen that pig in her nightmares before. And of course, like I said, this is the same barn where Jake was murdered. So Audrey has a big confession for Emma, and she tells her that she was in love with her, and that's kind of why she sought out Piper and why they just didn't have the strongest of friendships, because she knew that Emma probably didn't feel the same way, but Emma never knew until now that she was in love with her. So the good thing is that Noah is actually buried in this barn under that disgusting pig, and they're able to dig him up in time and save him, which is awesome. But they have to figure out where Zoe is because she's buried alive somewhere else. So they think. And you know how she won that Lady of the Lake pageant or whatever? Well, they figure out that she was buried alive in the lake, but it is too late for her. She is dead, which was shocking to me. I definitely thought Zoe was going to die this season, but not, I guess, this early, even though it's not early, but I think you know what I mean, because I thought she would be revealed as the killer first. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, it doesn't mean to, I don't take this as, oh my god, she's never killed anyone. Like, what I kind of think is that she was killing people and she was supposed to kill Noah, but she had feelings for Noah and she couldn't go through with her assignment, and then the killer, who is Kieran, took care of her. That's what I think, but I would love to hear what you think down below. Something that the killer said to Emma is, "You're dead in the water." The way that he said it, I feel like that has some kind of significance. If you think so too, let me know what your thoughts are down below. And finally, Maggie was telling the sheriff that she had a way to know if Brandon was truly alive. And at the end of the episode, we find out what that is. It's apparently when they were younger, they would leave notes inside of a tree for each other. And she left a note. I think it said for him to leave Emma alone or something like that. I don't know why I've forgotten it. That's terrible. But yes, so she's wanting to see if he will respond. The funny thing was, the very end of the episode, she finds, or she doesn't find out, but Eli was watching her, and he comes out of the bushes. He sees her put that note in. Now, a lot of people might assume that he has been doing the killings or is working for Brandon or whatever. I think that's just a red herring. I personally think he's kind of obsessed with Emma, and maybe he was in the bushes because he's been spying on her, because he's kind of creepy, not gonna lie. So, but I don't know. I'm open to hear what you guys think about what he was doing. Is he involved in the killings? Why was he watching what Maggie was doing? And how do you think all of this will turn out? If you haven't been to a live show, you're really missing out. They're so much fun and they're so interactive, and I get to talk to you and you get to share your theories with me, and it's fun because we always come up with new theories. But they're every Wednesday. That information is down below. I would love to see you next week. And if you haven't subscribed and you love the Scream Show and other mystery shows, please do, and please thumbs up this video. That would make me so happy. But again, down below, tell me who your theories are for killer now that we know that Zoe is not the killer. We need to update some of our theories or our guesses for who the killer is. So just give me top 2 or just 1. Could be just 1. You never know. And why. And it could still be Zoe, because maybe, like I was thinking, she might have been killing people, but she's no longer now, so we just have 1 killer. But I'm curious to see what you think. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. See you next time.